As I said at training, and I'll keep saying it, labeling a performance as just bad or very bad is quite lazy. It's too simplistic. What would the benchmark be? Are we judging only by the result or by the process too? So, personally, I break it down into four key areas. Technically, yes, against Western Eagles, we made far too many mistakes, poor touches, misplaced passes, and sloppy execution. Physically, I believe that most of you held up fine. Fitness to me wasn't the issue. Psychosocially, yeah, it was a mess. We discussed it and it had repercussions. The tension between some of you on and off the park was obvious and truly unhelpful. But in my opinion, tactically is where we have to look at things. That's where we completely fell apart, and that in turn dragged everything else down. So, like I said at training, we are going to zero in on the tactical side. That's where we can make the biggest gains. So, let's dissect tactically. And in particular, let's focus on those 30 long vertical balls we attempted last Saturday. So, why did we opt for so many long balls? Why do we often rely on that tactical approach? Well, we probably never looked at it in detail. A long ball is a pass that covers a significant distance on the pitch, typically played in the air, aiming to bypass multiple lines of your position. And these passes need to be directed toward target players, strikers, wingers, or even an advanced midfielder. So those long balls, those long vertical balls are typically employed by pragmatic teams, and this is what we want to be this season. They focus on minimizing risks and maximizing directness. For us and for this type of teams, the long ball has to be an effective way to relieve pressure. It allows to obviously bypass midfield congestion, and it will exploit, and I would say it gambles on aerial and physical combats. But of course, without work rate, nothing works. Now, possession-based teams, so the ones that do the tiki-taka, believe it or not, also use long balls at times as a strategic tool. The Zerbi, you probably heard of him. For instance, uh, he talks about playing where the space is, and this is a concept that I would like you to take into consideration because it talks about adapting to the opponent's positioning. So if the opposition pushes up to press high, well, there's obviously space in behind their defensive line. And in such scenarios, a well-timed long ball, which we have often played in the past, can exploit this space, turning the defensive pressure, so absorbing pressure into an attacking opportunity. And again, we've done that multiple times in the past. Now, we need to look at these different types of long balls that one can play so that we can also start discussing and labeling exactly what is it that we want to do when we play that type of ball. Because at the moment it's just, a long ball, a vertical ball, but we don't really know what we're doing. So let's look at number one, right? The diagonal long balls. So these are defined as being cross-field passes aimed at switching play, so switching as you call it, targeting usually a wide player. And the aim is that of stretching the opposition's defensive shape horizontally, which often create 1v1 situations for wingers or fullbacks. We have used these many times, as you can see, and successfully too. Number two, direct long balls to a striker. These passes instead target a central forward who often acts as a pivot to hold up play or flick the ball onto advancing teammates. This approach is common when the striker is really good with aerial duels and physical battles. We've been able to do that quite successfully too. Number three, over the top through balls. These are played behind the defensive line, These passes aim to exploit the pace of our attackers running into open spaces, and we've sort of spoken about it. They are particularly effective against high defensive lines that leave space behind. And lastly, number 4, called sweeper keeper long balls. We do that very often. So modern goalkeepers, in particular, often use long balls straight to bypass pressing traps and directly launch attacks. These passes combine defensive safety with offensive potential. So, since it seems we can play a good variety of successful long vertical balls, please watch the next 30 clips. And what would you say did not work this time? Please come ready tonight with an opinion. I'll have one too. Last thing, uh, I'm going to leave you with a quote. Someone by the name of Jose Mourinho said one day that the long ball strategy can be effective if executed correctly, but it's important to have a balance and not rely solely on it. And let me ask you a question, another question. What did I ask you at halftime to try and do rather than playing those long vertical balls?